Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. The reason is every country is different, so I'm just extending greetings to everyone anywhere in the world. And this morning, I have beautiful ladies here, and I will let them introduce themselves before we continue. Welcome to Pazito Radio, ladies.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
And first of all, I'm your host, Mrs. Agnes Riafe Otin. At the same time, I'm executive as well with GDW, but I will let our founder introduce herself first.
Great. So good morning, listeners. Good morning to everybody who's watching us live on Facebook and on our Ghana Diaspora Women page, as well as on Pazito Radio. Good morning to you all. Just as the host said, we are Ghana Diaspora Women. We are here on Pazito Radio this morning just to have a chat with you, have a conversation with you, tell you about our organization, what our vision is, and also to invite you to join us. My name is Marie Amwakwa Bwedu. I'm the founder of Ghana Diaspora Women, and I have two of my amazing executives here with us. In fact, three, including the host herself, Mrs. Otin Riafe. So we have to my left is, I'll let her introduce herself.
Amanda Rashid. I'm the secretary interim of GDW.
Great. And to my right.
I'm Sharon Akumia, and I'm one of the executives.
Fantastic. So I think in summary, that's who we are, and that's why we're here. We're here to have a chat with you.
So now the public want to know the main reason or the meaning of GDW, because we say GDW, we can see Ghana flags there, and for somebody to have Ghana flag, that shows the love, the empathy you have for the country. So what is this all about?
Great. So GDW simply stands for Ghana Diaspora Women. That is Ghanaian women living abroad. So as long as you're a Ghanaian woman who is not on the homeland, not on the motherland, in the continent of Africa, as long as you're offshore, you are a Ghanaian woman living abroad. So we have decided to form an organization or a women's movement to see how best we can come together to support our fellow sisters and daughters back home. So I'm talking about Ghanaian women back home, especially the underprivileged. So those in our villages, the young girls in our villages and so on, whom we believe also have great potentials but need our support to bring out the best in them.
So really, what made you start such a thing? Because Ghana is a broad country, and how are you going to do this? And what really made you come out with this?
Now that's the big question. Ghana is a big country, a broad country. What made us decide to do this? So I'll start off by saying that I'm a Christian, and God always puts a vision.
Okay. We're going to have this because that was a challenge as well.
That you sit around the table whereby the decisions that you make are enforced and become the norms and regulations by which the society lives. I think that is the for me, what I've seen in the 2.5 years that I've been in office, that not enough movement is being made by the 52% of the Ghanaian population that are women to be able to be in the position to make these decisions. The cabinet that I have, some 30-odd% of them are women.
30%.
30%. Is not good enough.
So next,
It doesn't
20%
reflect.
and more next year.
Well,
Yes.
and as if they re-elect me, we'll see. But
If you
that
campaign
push
on that, they might.
is that push that is key. And we are not, this may sound for the ears of people like that are very reactionary. We're not seeing enough dynamism and activism on the part of those who are seeking this new. Why not? No, yeah, why not? I'm talking about dynamism where it matters.
Dynamic head of state.
I'm saying the dynamic is not sitting around here talking. I'm talking about electing people to parliament, controlling political parties, because they're the instruments by which our societies make decisions. We're talking about decisions, not wishes and hopes. We're talking about decisions. It is decisions that is going to make the difference.
But let's not put all the problems, all the the responsibility at the door of women. Let's look at the men who hold the bus. Let's look. You are a he for she champion.
Okay, we've just listened to President Nana Akufo-Addo Dankwa challenge that he had when he went to Canada. What do you think about this? Or what is this about?
Right. So I'm sure, as you said, in fact, before when you asked me the question, I was just about to answer, and then I was going to ask you to play the recording for all of us to refresh our memories about the president's encounter. When I say the president, our Ghanaian President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, at the Women Deliver Conference. I think, there was a bit of an encounter there, and the president put out some comments about Ghanaian women. Now, these comments ruffled a lot of feathers. Many people were not happy about the comments. As with every comment that people make in general or in life, there are some who are in favor, there are some who are against. Now, I listened to this video repeatedly because I really wanted to sort of get into the president's heart and mind as to why he had made those comments. And eventually I came to the conclusion that there is some truth in what he said, in the sense that if we Ghanaian women make up 52% of the population of Ghana,
Meaning the rest are 49, so we are more than
so
them.
we are the majority. And from what the president said, they are not seeing enough movement from us. Now, in terms of the dynamism and activism, I think, yes, there are many Ghanaian women who are doing amazing things. Lots of Ghanaian women in leadership, many more striving to get into leadership, because the president hammered a lot on decision making. So it all boils down to decision making, having a representation in decision making, especially for those of us in this sort of era of women's empowerment. So for me, I kind of saw a level of truth in there, and as a result, I was asking myself, what can I do to sort of bring women together, Ghanaian women living abroad together, so that we form an organization, we form a movement, and present ourselves to our leadership and say, we live abroad. Many of us have been staying here for, more than a decade, some 2 decades, some 3 decades. We've learned so many things abroad in terms of skills. We have, lawyers, doctors, accountants, nurses, teachers, support teachers. I mean, the skills, the talents, the expertise is just amazing. How can we as women, Ghanaian women living abroad, with all this equity, present ourselves to our leadership and say, here we are, how best can you meet us halfway and tap into what we have, so that together we can use, the equity to help improve the situation in our country, Ghana. Now, I know we've made so much progress, but 62 years post-independence, it could be better, So in a nutshell, that's where the vision came from. I think the president had said a lot, that they are not seeing enough movement. It's more wishes. So especially for those of us who live abroad, we often sit outside of the country looking in. And so it's very easy for us to criticize. It's very easy for us to point fingers at leadership, point fingers at our brothers and sisters back home, and so on. So I'll leave it to the rest of the ladies to also chip in at this point.
Well, in Ghana, before I came here, I was working with PPAG, Planned Parenthood Association of Ghana. And now our core aim, what we were designated to do, was actually going to school, and the schools, especially primary and junior secondary, and we were putting them together, especially young girls, forming groups and clubs for them to come together and help each other, build each other up, because they had a vision. And I think that's where we are also coming from. So we're all working from the same platform. And so their vision was to empower women. And it's the young girls that grow up to become women anyway. So if we cut them young, the plan is to get them prepared and ready for the world and for Ghana, service to Ghana, by the time they are 18 or out of school, basically. So we had clubs and other things. That was the core thing we were doing, forming clubs, them coming together, encouraging each other, setting up competitions so they can actually be the boys most of the time, and they were right into it because as a team, people are naturally working better in teams than when they are working individually. So seeing that, and my sister coming to me to say, oh, this is my vision, what can you bring to the table, are you interested? I just jumped. Well, sis, what are you talking about? I'm right in, because that is a passion for me to see something. And I've been sitting out there and I feel like I've frozen out in Kent and I'm just not in touch with what's going on. And I go for my holidays, come back. What did I do in Ghana? Nothing, just had fun or relaxed, and nothing actually being done. So if I have a mission and a vision, and I can actually go there yearly or whatever and do my best and give something to some people to raise a nation of strong women, then I'm doing something that I can be proud of. That's what I want to do.
Let me remind you, if you want to ask any question, you can call on 0161 818 8206 and you can ask any question, or use our messenger as well. Any question I'll read. Some people don't really want to show themselves. I'll read. The reason why I was saying, somebody was asked, is it this about politics? And I want them to really elaborate seriously on this issue.
Just to answer that person's question, no, we are a non-profit, non-political organisation. Yes, some of the aspects that we will talk about, or some of the campaigns, naturally will fall amongst political issues, but we do not support any party. Next year we've got an election in Ghana, so we'll be looking to make traction on to whoever is president, whoever is in government at the time, but we are a non-profit, non-political organisation.
Yeah, so we don't, it's not about politics. So whoever is there, the challenge is there, they can still go there and meet whoever it is. So this is not political background, but it's, what the reason is they have the empathy to help people who are suffering there. Okay. So what are the main targets, or what is the main motive of this? Which area? Because Ghana, we cannot really do everything in Ghana. Definitely you have some points, or you have something in mind that you want to tackle with.
Right, so I think as leadership of GWD, we've sort of agreed on 3 main campaigns that we want to run. Now, we want to petition government. Our first campaign that we want to petition government on is schools under trees and sheds. We believe, as Ghanaian women living in the diaspora. Now, before I go ahead and say what I'm saying, let me just mention that we already have 5 chapters around the world. So this organization is growing, and is growing very, very rapidly. We have a chapter in USA, we have a chapter in Canada, we have a chapter in Holland, Hungary, as well as Ghana. So some of our diasporans who have relocated to Ghana have already caught onto the vision. In fact, I can see, a couple of them on our Facebook Live right now on our page. So it's very, very interesting to see that Ghanaian women have really jumped on board this vision. Now, one particular thing that I keep hearing from a lot of the women I've spoken to in the last couple of weeks is that they have always known that they want to do something back in Ghana, but it's a matter of how to start, and as an individual, we all know about the bureaucracies when you go to Ghana to do business or to set up a foundation, or, there's so many bureaucracies. But I believe that now that we have come together as an organization, we will be recognized, because we are putting our voices, we are putting our minds and our visions together as one. So going back to the objectives that we have now, our very first campaign we're looking at running is petitioning government on schools under trees. We believe that 62 years post-independence, we have come too far for Ghana to still have children going to schools under trees, especially the young girls. Now, somebody asked the other day, what about the boys? Well, we do consider the boys too, but our mission,
it's a school. So
yes,
school is
yes,
next.
We have to stay focused with our vision, and the vision is women and girls. So we do believe that, we're still putting together our short-term, medium-term, long-term goals as to what we can do with eliminating schools under trees. We believe it is possible. As you stated, we are not here to save Ghana. We are not saying we are here to save Ghana. We cannot do that. But however, far our hands can reach in terms of eliminating some of the schools under trees, we will do our best to do so, and also petition government, the Ministry of Education, you know, to pay particular attention to those. I mean, we all saw the recent floods, you know, and how some of the school
That
kids,
was so sad.
exactly, heartbreaking, how some of the school children were being washed away, you know, the sheds falling apart, you know, and so on. It was just a mess, you know, and it does not befit us as a country. Now, the president is talking about Ghana Beyond Aid, which...
Hold on, let me answer
Okay.
this question myself. Somebody is saying, why does Ghanaians want speaking English whilst they are Ghanaians? The reason why this is happening is not every Ghanaian that speaks Twi. That is our local dialect, but we have to bear in mind, it's not every Ghanaian that understands Twi. So if we are speaking just one dialect, that means we are just speaking to those people who understand that language. So this is the reason why we cannot really do that. Some people comes from the north, they can't speak it, they don't understand. But at least the little English, that would be the general thing. So this is the reason why we are struggling not to speak one language. That is our own local dialect. But when we do that, that means it's just one way. So please bear with us. So far as you were able to write this, I believe you understand and you were able to write. You may ask because of somebody, but this is the reason why we cannot speak our own dialect when we're doing programs like this. Thank you.
Yeah, and I suppose to add to what you just said, and in response to that person's question, even though we are a Ghanaian organization, let us also bear in mind that we have international organizations already following us on our Facebook page. You know, people are watching from afar.
They can help.
People who eventually we would approach for help, we would approach for funding, and so on. So, and they would have to make reference to some of the work we've done, some of the publicity, you know, like what we're doing now on Pazito Radio. So we cannot, you know, just afford to be saying everything in Twi or Ga. I mean, I'm sure there's a time will come where we perhaps will come and do a Twi or Ga or a local Ghanaian local dialect interview, ever, you know, and all of these things. But for now, we are using the international language in the world, which is English. So just bear with us on that. So going back to schools, our campaign, I think the first one is Schools Under Trees. I'll let my sisters also throw some light on that. And then we have maternal deaths. So again, you know, we will talk about that. And having a conversation with our leadership on gender equity leading to gender equality. You know, we believe that that's a conversation that needs to be had. I know that many NGOs in Ghana are already having those conversations. Even here in the West, it is still ongoing. Women are still finding their place in society. So yes, these are some of the things that we're looking at.
Talking about children learning on the tree, as women living in diaspora, how do you feel about this? If you enter your child's school, or even if you don't have a child and you know how school is in UK especially, and then you see this video as children really learning and there's a stream of water, I mean, how do you really feel about this?
For me, it's quite distressing actually. I'm one of the second generation Ghanaians who was born here, have been educated here. I like to go back to Ghana often, I've got family there. But to see images of children sitting under trees, it's quite distressing. And I think for a lot of my young friends and for those who are also being born here, it's something just foreign to us actually, and we just don't understand it. We've got some beautiful, grand buildings in Ghana, and yet we've still got children still sitting under trees, sitting under buildings that are actually collapsing. There was a case a couple of years ago where there were children who were in like what we would say reception class in the UK, and the building had fallen on them, the ceiling had caved in. This is unacceptable, and I do think that we should be petitioning our leaders and also ourselves as diasporans to also help. I mean, it's not everything that even in the UK the government does, but we can, if we can mobilise together, we can maybe help to rebuild some of these schools, help to build a wing, help to mobilise the government to look at a schools building programme.
And I think, you know, children on the tree, the dangers, can you bring some dangers? I think some they can die. 2, pneumonia. 3, animals can just go along, and some of them can even go as the rain is coming. It can even draw some children. So this is something so serious. And one thing I want us to know is we are here. We are Christians as well. Bible says, because you do not do this for me, you didn't do for somebody else, you didn't do for me. So we need to be careful. Our Christian life, I always say, is not based in the church. These are some of the things that we do, and we get blessing in that. So now we're doing children on the tree. Wherever you are, I want you to think about you learning on the tree. Although you may learn in Ghana, but I don't think you were learning on the tree. No, we schooled in Ghana, but I don't think we were learning under a tree. I've never come across such a thing before. So that's a good thing that we are embarking on to do to help. Don't say, oh, but it's the responsibility of the government. That's why we say this is not a political background, but this is what you can bring out as a Ghanaian. What do you call? Tesco says every little help, every penny you have. If we're collecting £1, 1,000 people, it's £1,000. So let's do something as women together. So Amanda, so how long? I think I'm going to ask Amanda, has this GDW been in existence? How long has this?
It's only been around a few weeks, and it's amazing the passion and the number of people who are just jumping on the bandwagon. And it's not like they just come in for the sake of it, or to join a group or be on a WhatsApp group or anything. People are just asking questions. When are we doing something? What are we doing? And it just makes me so happy to know that there are like-minded women around, and we were all ready to help but didn't know how to or where to start. So this is a start, only a few weeks old, but we're running with it. We're not even crawling. We are running with it. Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay, so what is the next target? Because we've just spoken about children learning on the trees. So children is children. It will be girls and girls, because in classroom it's both. So that one at least is children. So whatever you have, you can also join us on Facebook, Pazito Radio, also on GDW page as well. And if you want to join as well, you can phone in and ask any question. If you don't want to use the messenger, you can also call.
Can I just stress on something here? Even though we say schools under trees, yes, we do acknowledge that it's mostly mixed schools in Ghana, so we have the boys in consideration as well. Now, if we build a school, you know, it's both girls and boys. But for GDW, the focus is on the young girls. So eventually, we're looking at having like an academy for girls where we would raise just female leaders. Because going back to what our president said, you know, we make up the majority of the population, and at the moment there's a shortfall in how many women are being, you know, women's representation in decision making. So, for example, he made mention of the fact that in his current cabinet, there's only about 30% that are women. So how can GDW, Ghana Diaspora Women, raise more female leaders? This is why we keep going back to the fact that our focus is on the girls. Yeah.
So what is the next target that you have?
Next target. Right. I think I was going to say something earlier about Ghana Beyond Aid. Now, the president has stressed a lot on Ghana Beyond Aid. I don't want to delve too much into that. But in terms of, because somebody asked a question the other day, how are you looking to run this organization? And my answer was, it is very simple. There's about 3 million plus Ghanaians living abroad. Now, the majority of that is women, because the statistics show that women, we make up, even in the whole entire population of the world, the majority of us is women. So, considering the fact that there's about 3 million plus Ghanaians living abroad, and the greater percentage of us is women, if we are able to come together amongst ourselves, we should be able to do something. Now, I always like to give this analogy. Say you're looking to raise £10,000 or $10,000 for a project. If you're able to get 10,000 people, each one of them giving you just $1, that is $10,000 right there. So I believe, or we believe, that amongst us Ghanaians living abroad, we should be able to, you know, raise some funds to do some of these projects amongst the women. As well as we'll be asking our men to support us, you know, because we need them. So if you're listening to us, men, we need you on board, we need your backing, because we cannot do this without our men. So that's something that I think it's important we put out there. Yeah.
So with this, okay, I'll ask that question later because that will be under order 3. So this is about the tree and children learning. Some of them is not even learning on the trees, but even if you see the condition of where they are learning, is just dangerous and their lives are at risk. We don't want to wait till we see that before we strike. We need to strike and strike hard this time. So let's go to the next. We are done with the schools. I think we've really elaborated on the schools a lot so that we understand the reason why GDW is now on. And as Amanda said, it's running, it's not crawling, because they are just running and jumping around.
So the next, maternal deaths, you want to share something on that?
Yeah, so unfortunately in Africa and also in Ghana too, we still see a lot of women who are losing their lives whilst giving childbirth, and it's a matter that has been raised. Even the First Lady has raised about it. She's been pushing and she's been campaigning and actually building a wing at the Confidential Hospital in Kumasi, and has got a lot of backing. Recently, she provided some ambulances to, I think it was Kolubu. So we also need to ourselves do something about it. It's unacceptable in the 21st century that we still find women and children dying at childbirth or stillborn children. I mean, it's an issue worldwide, but where we can improve our own situation, we're also looking at providing assistance there, advocacy, money, trying to support our clinicians in order to change the situations around in regard to that situation.
Yeah, and thinking about maternal death, most of the time it comes way down to education, because we've got some traditional beliefs and other things that makes us, even if we're dying, we have to have our baby naturally, otherwise we're not woman enough, and that saddens me. And one person dying because they chose not to have a C-section or medical intervention is one person too many, in my opinion. And so I think where we can start tackling this issue from is educating, as well as encouraging the government and pouncing on them and really making noise in their ears to actually make the national health scheme work. Because some people may withdraw from actually opting for a C-section because of money issues. They don't want the bill. They can't afford the bill. So they'll just try as much as they can till their last breath, trying to push out the baby. And in the end, losing their lives and leaving their baby, or actually going with the baby, losing the baby. So it's high time we actually educate our women. You're not less of a woman if you've had a C-section. I've had three, and I don't know my first experience with childbirth. I was in labor for how many hours? I can't even remember.
Before.
And the night before, I was listening to they had my baby on that sonogram, or and I was listening to the heartbeat all night, and it was dropping and dropping and dropping, and I kept praying, like, I've been through this. I've had 9 miscarriages before I got pregnant with this. I'm not losing this baby. I kept praying all night. Doctor came in, quick, C-section, we're going. We're not hanging up. He didn't even say good morning. He just went straight for it, and he said, we're going in. Husband, sign here. That. And he said, are you okay with that? I said, fine. I'm not losing this baby because I want to have a baby naturally. It doesn't make me less of a woman.
That baby was still in your tummy for 9 months.
Yes.
We can't stress that point enough, that you're not less of a woman if you're having your baby by medical intervention. So we need to do that one as well, as encourage and force and help our government to implement that health scheme and make it work for people, especially
I haven't
women.
thought about that, honestly, that some people think when you do C-section, you are less of a woman. I've not really
I
come to
hear
that point
that
of
all the time.
thinking about that.
I think
Because
it's one of the pressures that we put on our own selves as women. Yeah. Yeah.
because you have that baby there 9 months.
Yeah.
You have that relationship
Yeah.
already. So that's C-section. And when it comes into Ghana, when somebody's going for C-section, I know it's like the whole house is just like, oh, what is happening? Because a lot of things don't go well in Ghana. But here, C-section is within just less than 10 minutes is done. I've experienced so many because I've been working that side before 4 years. And it's just like you're joking. You're just having a chat. Somebody can just say, can you please go with me? If the man is not brave enough to go, they can ask whoever is working, please, do you want to go? And we just voluntarily do that. So for people, so as I said, I never knew. So if you have that intention that if you are not a woman enough, then you go to the grave with that womanhood.
Yeah, that's what's happening. It's across, up and down Africa. It's happening so because people think that, oh, if you're going to have a baby, it's got to be in the natural way.
We are learning here.
It took us a long time for many women to actually go to the hospital to have their babies because they believe they had to have the baby at home or at the herbalist or where
A lot of people
it took us a long time. We've come a long way to actually get women into going into the hospitals for childbirth, but there's still that notion that you're not woman enough if you're not pushing your baby out yourself and you're getting medical. Some people won't even get epidural or whatever pain they're in, they're just taking it naturally, and that makes them a woman. At the end of the day, having your health and holding your baby in your arm is what it's all about. All that 9 months, it comes down to having your baby at the end of the day and walking out of the hospital or wherever you had the baby with your baby, not by yourself, and not your baby with the dad or grandma or sister or no, just you and your baby walking out of the hospital is all we need and all we're advocating for.
Sharon, what will you compare giving childbirth here and in Ghana?
Well, I haven't yet experienced childbirth, but I've been present at when my sisters had her children. I mean, here you have.
I think it's over pampering.
It is over pampering. I do actually agree, it's over pampering, and you have the midwives who are seeing to your care. You've got the pediatricians who are, and if you need to see a gynecologist also, who are also here. You have prenatal classes available to people here. It would be nice to see something similar in Ghana. I mean, they are now trying in Ghana, I have to say, from what I've heard. But at the same time,
that is in the private hospitals.
Those in the private hospitals, exactly. And it does concern me about those who are out in the villages, those who are in the remote areas. Really do need to look at how we can even look at community care. I know it's something that the government is considering, but it seems to be slow, and we would like to help in any way we can. With also NGOs who are really out there fighting at the moment for these type of services for pregnant women. So yeah.
I think it's about 2 weeks ago, I was speaking to my sister and she said, oh, something terrible has just happened. I said, what? Because she went to visit somebody in Kolego. And the woman came out crying. So she was thinking she has lost the baby or something terrible. So she said she felt to speak to that lady. And when she spoke to her, it's just the baby. So she was trying to run away and they were chasing her. Because of the bill, she wanted to leave the baby behind. Just because of the bill. She've delivered everything, and just because of that. And then again, when my sister decided to pay and go in with her, she's lying on the floor. Yeah. Mary, what do you say about this?
So no beds?
No, not even bed.
No
She's
beds.
just on the floor, and she can't even pay the bill. The normal bills she can pay. So she tried to just run away and leave that baby there.
In fact, just last year we went Koforidua Eastern Region. We went to the regional ministry. In fact, we met the minister himself and some of his team. And during the conversation, one thing we picked up was that there's just not enough health officials, to go out there and reach out, deep into the communities. I mean, I think if I remember correctly, and if I don't, I apologize. But if I remember correctly, it was, I think, about 1 or 2 or so nurses to, hundreds of people. That's just not
safe.
It can't just happen, and it goes back to the fact that a lot of these young men and women are completing nursing school and all of these things, but there's no jobs, and so it falls back on us as diasporans, because as I said earlier, it is very easy for us to sit outside of the country, look in and point fingers and make accusations and criticize and all that. And it's a completely different thing actually being on the ground, seeing the situation for yourself and asking yourself, what can I also do to this? As Sharon and I were driving here, we were talking about the fact that yes, it is us the people that elect people into leadership, but ultimately the country belongs to us. So the Ghana that we envision to see, it will take all of us collectively coming together, putting our hands into the dirt to try and make it what we want it to be. Now, can Ghana be like the West in the next 20, 30 years? I don't know. But what I do know and what I do believe is that we can begin. Now, as I keep saying that many people have already begun. Many people are doing amazing things, especially women, some from the dead, some not even Ghanaians, who have gone to Ghana, visited Ghana. I mean, just the other day I was watching a video from made by an African-American lady who said she had heard so much about Ghana and our beaches and all that. So she packed her bags from the United States, made her way to Ghana, only to arrive at Labadi Beach to see the plastics in the ocean. And she's like, this is supposed to be, the Atlantic Ocean in Ghana, Africa, the sun is out, I'm supposed to be relaxing on the beach, enjoying, tanning myself. But she found herself trying to set up something like what we are doing now, an organization, an NGO, to help her sort of clear the plastics on the beach, in the ocean, in her own small way. This is what we are asking, Ghanaian women abroad to come together, join our organization, so that together we can do something. I mean, in this day and age, women still having babies on the floor just because there are no beds in the hospitals. You have to run away after having a baby, leave the baby behind because you can't afford
accumulating.
Because you can't afford to pay the bill. The care itself is not the best. As we said, over here we are over pampered. I remember when I had my first daughter, and within a matter of hours they came round with a bounty pack. And in the bounty pack there's nappies, the baby's first toothbrush, toothpaste. That thing has been one of my dreams. So these are things we can look at doing, trying to put a smile on somebody's face, as well as it goes back to what Amanda said, it's all about education. Because some of these cultural beliefs, they are passed on to generations. So you have a young girl, in this 21st century, who will still tell you that, no, this is the belief in our family. In our family, this is our culture. My great-grandmother had a baby, this way. My mother, my grandmother, my mother. And so by all means, I must also, I think with our organization, we have nurses, we've already started collecting a database of the expertise we have. So we can reach far and wide, divide ourselves amongst the various regions and raise awareness. There's so much work to be done. So we're calling on everybody to come on board.
So how are you going to fund this? Because it's Ghana, and how are you going to do this kind of organization that we've done now? How are you going to do it? Who is going to fund it?
Who is going to fund us? We will have to fund ourselves.
So it's everybody's responsibility.
We will have to fund ourselves. As I said earlier, we are about close to about 4 million Ghanaians living abroad. We can fund ourselves. Let us begin to do something. Let them see us. And if I say them, I mean the leadership. Let them see us coming together, doing something. And I believe from that, as Amanda said, we will put pressure on them, because whatever funds they have from Ministry of Finance, we will petition them to begin to look at some of these areas, to pay close attention to. I think we have enough roads now. It's not enough. Let me rephrase that. It's not enough, but I think a lot of focus has gone into that side. Let us begin to take some of the money into other areas too. It is equally very important, especially education. Now, free SHS, for example, brilliant idea. Many Ghanaians have applauded the idea. But I think education, the foundation of education is early years. So why not also consider making early years stage? So say, for example, from nursery up until maybe year 3 or even year 6. Why not consider making that free as well? Because not everybody will go on to secondary school. Not everybody will go on to higher education. Some may branch off into internship, apprenticeship. Some may go and do their entrepreneurial things, which is something we also promote. But at least if they
how would they get there?
Yeah, but if they have that basic education, it will sort of help them to think in certain, critical thinking. So it's something that I think government should also consider. So these are the things that we are going to sit down as Ghanaian women in the diaspora and lay the cards out, and then regroup ourselves into different sections. So we have a group of women looking at one section, another group of women looking at another section, and so on. So yeah, it's broad, the work is big. We haven't figured it all out yet because we are still pretty new, early stages. So we need everybody to come on board so that we can all
Somebody
share
say, how
our
can I
minds.
join this group?
We've got a WhatsApp group, and if you're on our page, there's a lot of information there, and we're going to put our WhatsApp number on there. If you're in the UK, you join through that WhatsApp number and you join the group, and then with time, like my sister Marie said, we're collecting a database of expertise and what areas people can help. So with time, we'll break them down into tiny little groups and then make plans, like concrete plans, and then start working. So it will be on there. Keep an eye on our Facebook page.
It's like, I'm in Germany. Do you have any in Germany?
So in Germany, not yet. I'm actually speaking to a lady in Germany. So if this sister is interested, she can reach out to me. If you go onto the WhatsApp page, in fact, I can, let me see if I can pull the number now. Otherwise, we will have to post it later. So the number on our WhatsApp page, which she can reach me on, is +44 77 32 465 239. I'll repeat that. It's +44 77 32 465 239. She can reach me on that number, or any of us on that number. We will have a discussion. If she wants to start a chapter in Germany, we will talk to her, go through the necessary steps, and then obviously give her the go ahead to start a chapter in Germany, and we will support her to make her chapter grow as well. You can join us on our Facebook page. We have a WhatsApp group here in the UK, close to about 80 women. It's really growing. Within the last couple of weeks, it's grown so much. We have a Ghana chapter, US, Canada, Hungary, and Holland. So if anybody is interested from these countries, just get in touch, and we will get in touch via this number that I've just put out, and we will put you in touch with the executive heads. I think we should give our executive heads a shout out. So for Canada, we have Sarah Ofori-Mensah, who is our executive head. That's the USA. So USA is Sarah Ofori-Mensah. So Sarah, if you're listening, thank you so much. God bless you for the good work that you have taken on board. We have Canada, Charlotte Ubri-Boni. We have Hungary is Ama Busumuru. So she's an amazing lady. She's the chapter executive for Hungary. Ghana, we have Susie Nyama, who is our executive head in Ghana. And then obviously UK, we have 3 of our representatives here. In fact, 4, including you. I keep forgetting that you're an executive. But she's in her Pazito radio seat today. So yes.
Yeah, let you know I'm part of Ghana Diaspora Women, because that's my passion for children as well. So I'm part of its executive and the treasurer as well. So if you want to join us, don't hesitate to join. This is a vision. If you are, if you love God, love those things as well, because these are some of the things, there's blessing in it. Don't think about failures earlier on, because some of us, because you've tried certain things and you've been disappointed, you don't really want to engage yourself into things again. This is personal experience. So please don't say, oh, this thing, it doesn't work. This time, with your help, this is going to work. Let's help the children and the trees. Maternal, we hear it from the radio. So I say, oh, when them remove. Yes, it's happening because there's no help. But the little that you will help will take them far, and it will save the soul from that death. You will not be hearing it. We can't do it all, but we'll try our maximum capacity. The best that GDW can do to help Ghanaians back home. So anytime you go there, you can have a chest out and know that this thing, I was part of it. So that's about the maternal death. So this maternal death, what are your plans towards it?
Before I go ahead, actually, we have some statistics on here on our Facebook page. Eric Amwapa-Boadu, my husband, has put out some statistics for us. So according to WHO, World Health Organization reports, there's one nurse to 1,000 patients. One nurse to 1,000 patients.
In Ghana.
In Ghana. A World Health Organization report. In the Upper West region, the doctor to patient ratio is 1 to 14,310. So, like I said earlier, from the reports we got from Eastern region last year, is about one nurse to hundreds. As for ambulances, don't even go there. This is why,
Do you know, when you talk about ambulance, and when I lost my mom and we went back, when I went to the mortuary and I saw the different type of ambulance packed there just for dead bodies.
Yeah.
Not for the living, but that is business for dead bodies. It was so sad. In my heart, I was so deeply, my sadness was just doubled because people are dying there, and those are the people who have already died. It's not that I think when you need it, but this is packed, business packed, and there's no ambulance for people. So when somebody, for instance, is suffering from maybe heart attack or asthma, that person cannot get to the hospital. By the time the person gets there, the person is dead. Why? Because there's no oxygen. They will use a taxi. So there's no oxygen to lead the person or help the person to get into the hospital. By the time they get there, the person will be pronounced dead. It's really sad.
One more statistic. When I was born, I was born with a hole in the heart, and I spent most of my early years at Great Ormond Street. Luckily, by the grace of God, I didn't need an operation. I was healed. It disturbed me greatly to hear just this week that, and also I had a number of pediatric cardiologists looking after me. I was saddened this week when I found out that in Ghana, in the whole of Ghana, we only have one pediatric cardiologist. It's absolutely shocking. So if somebody has a child who has a heart murmur that maybe needs an operation or some serious care, they have to go abroad. Now, for people who are really poor, I mean, it's hard.
Yeah,
it's hard.
you can't afford it.
You can't afford it. So we really do need to look at all of this.
Yeah. Am I allowed to read a few comments from our Facebook page? Yeah. So one of our sisters, who is also a member of GDW, Nana Kuya Echa, she's written something here which is so profound. In fact, two comments, I'll read them. The first one, she says, instead of the habit of Ghanaians pointing out everything that government is not doing, the heart of this group is to be an answer or a solution. So that's what we're doing. I think we've done enough of the finger pointing, enough of the criticism. The question now is, what can you and I do to make sure that some of these things are reduced? She also goes on to say, "O mind be yeah, you know." And like I said earlier, so she says, let's hold hands and build our nation. And like I said earlier, Ghana belongs to us. Ghana does not belong to our leadership. The leadership are just a group of people, a few people that we elect to sort of spearhead things. But at the end of the day, you know, however we see Ghana to be, or however we desire for Ghana to be, the onus is on you and I, not just on our brothers and sisters back home. And for me, I think, you know, a time has come where, as the president said, we are not seeing enough movement. Well, now we want to move. We are moving now. So this is why we are asking everybody, women abroad, to come and join us. Let us begin to move. Let's move. Because I think too many of us too are, you know, we have come into somebody's country, somebody's land, and it's almost as if, you know, we're pretending like it's our own. and we've settled in our comfort zones. So our children are receiving the best of education, achieving greatness. Just yesterday, I saw a Ghanaian girl who had actually attained her PhD in mathematics in this country. You know, amazing. Now, if we're not careful, all those talents remain here and continues to make the West stronger. So this Ghana Diaspora Women is not just even about us, but also about the children that we have had here. The next generation, our children that we have come to have abroad. How are we preparing them, trying to get their mindsets in a space where they also begin to look back home, begin to look at where their parents originate from? I work in a school with young children. It breaks my heart when you see a Ghanaian child and you ask them, where are you from? And they're like, I'm from England, I'm from London.
And my parents are from here.
Yeah, and my parents are from Ghana. That's right, you know. So we need to teach our children where they originate from, their heritage, as well as prepare their minds so that they can bring some of their knowledge, their skills, whatever they've attained from here back to Ghana to support, you know, their heritage. So, yeah, there's work to be done.
A long way to go, but 1,000 mile steps start with the day.
Yeah.
When you start the day, it's no more 1,000, it's 999.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 We'll get there.
So what's the next one that we want to really let people know? The visions. We have our third vision.
I think that one will leave it to Madam Lawyer here. She's a lawyer and that's their expertise area. So gender
So
equity
Sharon, yeah.
and
Yeah.
equality.
Gender equity and equality is a very big area for in Ghana. As a lawyer here, I've recently gone back and went to work with a law firm and actually spent some time in court. And it was sad to see that a lot of women in Ghana do not have free access to justice. We have women who are working in some of our institutions, our banks, our hospitals, even in our public sector, and they're not being paid equally to their male counterparts who are doing exactly the same work. And it's time, and also even women who are working, they've got their own businesses. Many of the women in Mokala and the markets all up and down the countries, they're supporting their families, but when they need to access finance to maybe to grow their business or to help them when there's a bit of hardship, they find it hard to access finance. Mainly based on their gender, and it's sad. And actually, there was a report by Deloitte a few years ago that actually said that women entrepreneurs are better in terms of paying back loans because that money will go back into their families and their businesses. They really do need it. It goes down to the heart of why they have set up their businesses. So actually, when they looked across Africa, women entrepreneurs, those who are working in the markets, those who've got their stalls outside their homes, actually do repay back loans better than their male counterparts, but yet they're the ones who find it harder to go out there and to source finance. And so this is another area that we are looking to campaign for. It is unacceptable. I mean, we have problems here in the West. Gender pay is still an issue, but back home in Ghana, it's harder. It's harsh, and many women are supporting families. Sometimes their husbands have gone abroad whilst they're looking after their families. Women are the ones who sometimes are the breadwinners, and so they also need the help and support, and they also need to be on a level playing field with their male counterparts.
You know, in Ghana we have that when men are talking, women don't talk. We have that kind of thing. What can we really say about it? That is like the man. I'm not disputing about the Bible that God said that the man is the head, but at the same time He said we are helpers, so we are not slaves to them as well. So, but in Ghana you can see that difference. Even when in terms of marriage, some people, when their husband talk, it's like we've said it. What can we really do about this?
I think it also comes down to education. Really empowering our sisters in Ghana. As you said, we are Christians, and yes, we do look at and see our men as the head of the families, but as you said, we also helpers, and so we should be able to speak and to be able to to also make a contribution. We have a lot to say. I mean, if you just look at just us alone, we've got a lot to say. We've got a lot to contribute. So we also should have a level playing field to be able to do that in all parts of society, whether it is advocacy, whether it is in education, whether it's in healthcare, all throughout the different spectrums of society. We should be able to have a voice.
Amanda.
That's it. Traditions are great. We are proud of the traditions we have in Ghana, we have in place. We are proud of it. But then again, it's high time that we all accept that the world is evolving and women are playing key roles in that evolution that the world is experiencing now. We can't just be left behind. We can't be left behind. We all have to make way, let the traditions sleep a bit, so we can actually accept women's opinions and then accept women into high places. Someone will actually walk out of a church because a woman is preaching. Unheard of. I don't want to listen to a woman preaching. How can a woman tell me what to do? It's all, like our sister Sharon said, it's education. We need to be educated. We can't just be left behind in this world. Whilst everybody's moving forward with the help of women, and we're just stuck in the old ages, just thinking, oh, woman can tell me this, woman can tell me that. Look back to your first education. Your mom is your first educator. And so everybody have to see it that way, and then we can push forward women's voices, which has got so much to give to our dear nation. So we can't just sit around and let tradition rule and rule and rule. It's there for a reason, and it's got its own place, but we should actually evolve with the world and actually make way for women to actually have a voice too.
Okay, I saw something on Facebook last week that really sat in my heart, because there's this lady who is learning to do her masters. Throughout, before the masters, the husband was against it, but she tried her best. She passed and she wanted to do the next stage. The husband came back from work and said, I have a surprise for you. You know, a woman for surprise. So she was blindfolded and she went into the living room. All she had was cut, her hand. It was on Facebook. The hand was cut off. So with the help of somebody, she was able to reach out to authority that can deal with the issue, just because she wanted to say yes. It was on Facebook. And I was just like, somebody's losing this hand because she wants to learn as a woman, and the husband is against it. It's sad. Because some men doesn't want the women to have education more than them. Even in Ghana, they don't want their wives to be, but we are not the same. So what do you really say about this? That some men, although they are educated, but the level in which they are, the women have the capacity to do more than them, and they wouldn't allow it.
If you actually build your woman up, it actually is a plus to you. A man that has, say you're what, you work in a warehouse, tell them your wife is a lawyer, a doctor, and see how they change their views about you. They now listen to what you've got to say. So we should actually stop seeing things that way, from that perspective, that if my woman or my wife is higher than me in education, you're still the head of the house. You are still the head of the house. And many women know to give that respect to their husbands when they come home. So it's like, let your wife shine, and it makes you even shine brighter, because you can actually boast of a wife that is that high.
She bear your last name, you know.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, she has your name. She left her dad's and took yours. Yeah. So you're still the head. It doesn't take out of you for her to be higher in education. It's only in one aspect of life, education. That's where she's earning higher than I am. At the end of the day, it's coming home. That money is coming home for both of you to enjoy and build your future with. So we have to just change our mindsets and allow things, women to progress as much as they can. Push them, encourage your woman to achieve her potentials, and it will rub off on you as well. That's what I need to say.
Having said that, some women, because of their position, they also want the men to come down. If you're on that level, please change it.
Yeah.
Because some people will also do that. Because they see, as you said, you are in a warehouse and she's a lawyer or a doctor. Because of that, she wants to change their equation. And that one, it will not be changed. And the man will not allow. But if it's okay, please, let peace reign and let the woman, because we are not the same. Maybe you don't want to go higher, but if she can do it, let her go ahead as a woman and do it. It's building the home as well.
Yeah. And I think it brings us back to education, isn't it? It brings us back to education, which is why it is important that right from now we start empowering the young girls as well as the young men. You know, we are Ghana diaspora women, yes, but we will, our focus is girls, yes, but of course the young men too, we cannot, just overlook. So it's worth empowering them, having the conversation with them, as you said earlier, Amanda, catching them young and programming, helping them to program their minds in the right direction so that they are able to make the right choices as they grow and accept the women in their lives for who they are, the value they bring, and because it helps the home as well as it helps us, the community, and then into the society. Just last week I was speaking to somebody in Ghana, a lady in Ghana who is she's on the board of one of the NGOs. I don't want to mention the name of it. And she was telling me that they had done some, they had gone around a few schools in the Western region to do some programs with the children there. And so the young girls there in this school told them that when they when they're on their menstruation, the monthly cycle, they don't come to school because the boys would ridicule them. Say, for example, they soil themselves, they have an accident, the boys will ridicule them. So she said they organized like a meeting with the children and they talked to them, the girls, the boys, they explained things to them, they made them understand that these are natural processes that our bodies go through. So the boys have their own as adolescents, the girls also have their own, it's puberty, so they went through the whole entire, they had the whole entire conversation with them. And a few weeks back, they returned back to the school just to try and have, get some feedback from the girls. And the girls were like, things have changed. Now some of us are able to come to school when we are on our menstruation, and even when we soil ourselves, we realize the boys are not laughing, they're not teasing us, they're not calling us names. Some even go ahead, go the extra mile and try and help. The girls cover up themselves, somebody will take off their shirt and say, here, wrap yourself up, quickly run home and get changed and come back. So it goes back to education. I think to sum everything up, Ghana's issue or Africa's issue, because it's not just a Ghanaian thing. No. It's a thing on our continent. The continent is still not at a place where it should have been because most of African countries have had their independence close to about 50 years or more now, or let's say even over 40 years. But we are still not where we could be based on the mindset, and it's back to education. So, it goes back to the fact that there's still a lot of work to be done. Now, a lot of the times the focus is on Accra because it's the capital city, But GDW, we're looking at, looking outside of Accra, and reaching out into the hinterlands where a lot of focus and attention has not been paid to. That's where we want to go and, try and
because I know somebody had charity she does it because some children, they still menstruate and do not have pad.
Some haven't even seen a pad before.
So that's what she does. She load things, shoes and especially sanitary towels every time to give to them because they've never even seen it. And she couldn't stand when she had it. So that's her job that she does. It's an individual thing. So I was telling her, I said, God sees what you are doing. So because of her, the children are not seeing pad. They don't know what is pad. So they have to cut whatever it is and look at how hygienic. It doesn't matter, whatever they will get, they will just cut and use it and wash it for the next time.
Some girls are not even going to school during the weeks of when they're menstruating. Because they
don't have it.
They don't have it. Even the schools, they don't even have toilets. So when they need to go and change, there's nowhere to change. It's really distressing.
as
And
well
we've
as
had independence for 62 years.
yes, 62 years post-independence. I mean, last year I spent a lot of time in Ghana, so you know I did a lot of research. And one thing that even in terms of tourism, you know, it got to a point where the former tourism minister had to sort of get them to build a fence around the Cape Coast Castle, you know, around the seabed, because children were found to be defecating, you know, on the seabed.
Yeah.
And you have tourists, people who have traveled from abroad coming to our country, and that's one of our, you know, monuments. People come there to see the Cape Coast Castle, to have a feel of what the whole slave trade was like, the experience and everything, only to look down from where the canons are at the top to see people defecating there and all that, you know. So it goes back to education. First of all, you know, the other day, in fact, I think there was a conversation from our president about our attitude as Ghanaians, you know, in terms of the waste situation in Ghana. And my point was that, okay, fair enough, it is our attitude as Ghanaians, and that needs to be addressed. But in as much as it is our attitudes, there has to be systems put in place, you know.
You don't see any beings around, so
that's
where would the
it.
person
So where's
be?
the harm? But that's not why we are here. We're not here to discuss that. I'm only bringing that in, you know, to back my point that there have to be systems in place. If there are toilets in the homes, if the children are taught to use the toilet, if it's made accessible to them, you know, some auntie, some uncle hasn't locked the toilet and is refusing to let them go and use it and so on, then we would not have them, you know, doing these things at places where, you know, we have visitors, tourists and so on, our national monuments. So a lot of education needs to be done, a lot of awareness raising, a lot of empowering the children, you know, those who refuse to go to school. Today we have free SHS. Some are not even in favor of the free SHS. Come on, you're being offered free education for your child, and some were resisting it. Some still are resisting it. So we need to go around as many of us that we can have in this organization. We split ourselves. Some take here, some take there, some go this way, some go that way, and do the best we can, particularly in the area of education. Now, education, we're not talking about formal education only. It's not about the classroom, pen and paper. But it's about the awareness, trying to get them to have a different perspective, a different way of looking at things, you know, to think about things differently, a different mindset,
Because in here, as we were talking about children menstruation in year 5, because they are 9 now. Some children start their menses as early as 9. They are being taught at school. They have nurses that comes in to let the children know that this is something, you stages you go through it, so they are aware of it. But in Ghana, it's like telling a child about these things is a parents, you are going far. So as we said, education is important in every aspect of our lives. Every aspect, whether it's education, hygiene, everything, we need to educate ourselves. So as GDW, in this aspect, what will we do? Because it's about the young ones. Because we want them, if we have a school for them and they don't have this education, how are they going to go to the school? Well, they are even refusing because people are going to laugh at them. But if they are being educated and they know how to prepare themselves, I don't think they will even soil themselves.
I think the education we're talking about is not basically just formal education, though we're interested in that formal aspect and where the building infrastructure and all that, but the education we keep talking about, and in all the issues we've raised today, we've mentioned education in it, and it's not just the classroom education we're talking about. We're talking about going to churches, going to their homes, talking to parents, because some parents won't even let their children go to school because that's a few hours of the time that they could be using to sell pure water or whatever, and that is the family losing money and all that. So that education is starting from the homes, churches, places of gathering. So we go, a few of us plan to go Ghana, choose this area, choose this village or whatever location we choose, and then actually go door to door or church to church, community by community, we talk to people about all these aspects that we're talking about today, all these issues that we've raised, talking to them and letting them know the importance of formal education and all the other aspects that will help young girls into that education, that formal education, whatever, like the sanitary and everything that they need to know, and educating their male counterparts and letting them also calm down on that teasing, because they've also got their own developmental state that they will go through, that they will feel uncomfortable about, and educating people to be accommodating and accommodate each other, coexist, and then work together to actually get the formal education that we also need to go to the next step. So yeah, just starting from the grassroots.
Somebody's asking, where do you normally meet?
Okay, so we haven't, we are yet to have our first general meeting. So at the moment, we've had a couple of meetings online, Zoom conference, because we believe in technology. So this whole organization, within a matter of weeks, has been set up, you know, in 5 different countries, just using technology. But we have our first general meeting here in the UK on the 17th of August at St. John Bosco College in London, Battersea. We will put all the information out on our Facebook page. So if anybody wants to join us during our general meeting, then they can come to that venue on that day. It's the 17th of August from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So that's when we're having our general meeting. On the 12th of October, we will be launching formally Ghana Diaspora Women Global. So we'll be launching here in the UK, because it's a registered organization here in the UK. So the headquarters, we can say, is here. So we'll be launching here, and some of the sisters from other chapters have already indicated that they will come. So that's, you know, in response to the person's question here. But can I just say something about what Amanda was saying? Last week, my older daughter completed first year of university in Nottingham, so we went to go pick her up. Now, on our way to go and pick her up, we decided to, you know, we took a break at a service station. And my husband and I saw a group of youth, about 40 of them, in St. John's Ambulance uniform, with their grown-ups, St. John's Ambulance team with them. So they brought them into the service area to use the toilets and so on, and then they all gathered in a corner and they were having a chat. And immediately, it started a conversation between my husband and I. We were saying that this is what the West does, whereby they have all these organizations which have been around for decades, you know, but then what they do is they believe in a culture of handing back. So they raise the youth, you know, they raise their youth, the children, and they start from primary schools, because we see it all the time where they come into the schools. You know, you have the police coming, you have the fire brigade coming, you have the football teams, the athletes and all. They start from the primary, so they start them off very young, because this is where you can get children, some children, to start even making decisions as young as they are as to which direction, which career path they'll be choosing as they grow up. So we just observed them for a few minutes, and we said, look, this is something that we can introduce into GDW, or these are some of the things that we can suggest to our leadership, you know, once we start engaging with them formally. We don't have that culture in Ghana. We don't have that. In fact, we still operate to a certain degree. We still operate, children are seen, children are not heard, you know. But one of the key aspects of our organization is that we'll be passing on some of these life skills onto the children. We need to teach children how to do resuscitation, for example, so that if children are at home with their parents, their grandmas, and something is happening to somebody, before they run a mile to go and call auntie so and so, somebody can actually do something. My mother died from a sudden heart attack. There were people at home, but nobody could help her. You know, by the time she arrived at the first clinic, not even the nurse helped her. The nurse just tested a pulse and said, oh, take this woman to Kolebu. On the way to Kolebu, she had already died, you know, because of, they also had an accident on the way to Kolebu. Why? Because, you know, they're speeding, they're trying to get her, rush her. Again, back to the ambulance situation. There were no ambulances to call, there's nothing. What can we do as Ghanaians in the diaspora? We have complained a lot, we have cried a lot. What can we now do physically? Okay, if we don't have the money to buy the ambulances, fair enough. Maybe we can buy one or two, but at least the education we can use our voices and our skills to do. Catch them very young and teach them some of these things. Yeah, so that we pass on knowledge to the children, because they are the future leaders of Ghana.
Well, I was fortunate enough to go to a junior high school and a primary school where the headmaster was a Red Cross Society member, and he formed a club there in the school that we actually learned first aid and all that. So and the enthusiasm in that, kids just love to learn new things. Kids are like sponges, they soak up everything that they can. So why not turn it into positive things and let them soak it up? We can organize people to actually teach them these basic things that they can help and do things like that. We had really good people that were, a girl was saved by another pupil in the school. That girl had a asthma attack, and she just knew what to do. She knew what to do, because we've learned about all these things. It's just little things that usually don't even cost anything to do, just passing on knowledge. So all these things are things that we can actually look into and then educate with basic life skills, not maths, English, science, or not talking about that level yet. Just simple things that you can do. First aid at home. What oil burns? What do you do? House on fire? What do you do? How do you even prevent these things in the first place? We've got so many people in our organization now, and so many of them have different skills and different experiences that they can pass on. And this is what we're trying to do. All we're trying to do is pass on knowledge.
Somebody's saying, you mentioned Sharon, somebody's a lawyer. So do you mean you're going to use the ones you've learned here to Ghana? Is that your motive? That's a question. Somebody's asking that. We mentioned somebody's a lawyer. Does it mean all the professionals in the team are going to use it in Ghana?
The skills.
That's the plan. That's the plan. The plan is to get
so
all the skills to work in Ghana.
As your question, it is definitely yes. We have a lot, by the grace of God. There's a lot of professionals, lawyers, nutritionists, teachers, and everything, nurses. I know we're going to get doctors and everything, and that is what we're going to take it to Ghana. So what we're doing is not all about money. This time I've shifted to be the GDW. It's not about money. It's about what we have as a woman, and you giving back to your country.
Yeah.
So that is the motive behind. And everything we do, without money you cannot go forward as well. So together with your help and the money, we can go further as well.
It's also, there are, as our founder Marie said, there are groups and organizations already out in Ghana, but it's just getting that traction, getting that that recognition. And what we are looking to do is to partner with them, is to support them from here, and also going over and supporting them too, just so that we can have a movement. I think where we partner and where we can link up with other organizations will help. We're not on the ground, so there are people who are out on the ground who really see. So we need that facility. We need to support them.
Yeah. So with what Sharon just said, what are the plans towards that, linking with people?
So we've already spoken to, we are in talks with a couple of female-led NGOs in Ghana. We are yet to finalize with one. And in due course, very soon, we will announce on our Facebook page who we have decided to partner with, the initial person that we've decided to partner with. She has an amazing NGO. She's doing amazing things. So GDW is looking to partner with her, to support her. We need to, as Sharon said, we are new. Nobody knows us yet in Ghana, although we have a team there. So what we are doing here today is part of the whole publicity. Now letting the Ghanaian community, both home and abroad, know that we do exist and that we're here to lend our support. So in due course, we'll be sharing the information on our Facebook page and our various social media handles. We have our Instagram. Let me put those out there if that's okay. Yeah. So obviously our Facebook page is Ghana Diaspora Women. Twitter is Ghana Diaspora Women. Instagram as well is Ghana Diaspora Women. So you can follow us on Instagram, you can follow us on Twitter, as well as follow us on Facebook. We've just kept it very simple. As soon as you type in Ghana Diaspora Women, you will see us on there, and follow us. So yes, once we have the information all finalized, we will put it out there to the general public whom we have partnered with. The project will be, we will start off with girls, as we have said. Eventually we will expand. We know that the young boys will also benefit from this organization.
Is it possible to repeat the time of the meeting and the inauguration, please?
So our first general meeting will be at St. John Bosco College in London, Battersea to be precise. It's from 10 o'clock in the morning to 2 p.m. Our launch is scheduled for the 12th of October, so that's a Saturday. Both days are Saturdays. Saturday, 12th of October. Again, it will be from 10 to 2. The venue details will come out very soon. We also have a website which is due to be launched anytime soon, within the next couple of days. www.ghanadiasporawomen.com. So that will be published as well, so that public can go there and seek some information on who we are, what we do, the vision, and so on.
Okay, so before we go, what is, in a nutshell, what do you want the public to know? Or what do we need the public to know, and what do we expect them to do?
So we would like the public to definitely support us, encourage us, we would like to see as many diasporan women come and join us. We also need the support from our men too. So we'd like to see their support too. We also need fundraising. Fundraising is key. We said we are going to fund this ourselves. It's only us that can fund it. If we want to really make a difference back home, we need to put our hands in our pockets. We're looking at crowdfunding as a way of fundraising, and there'll be more details about that coming soon on our various platforms. And we really just want the message to go out there that we're here, that we care about Ghana, that we are really passionate about these issues. And so far, the amount of interest we have had is amazing. I'm very surprised to see so many people really supporting us and willing to put their hands in their pockets and support. And so, yes, we're looking for your support.
Basically, we need women to come together as well. So we need as many. If you're listening to us right now, we just need you to come on board. We need you. We need as many women abroad as possible. There's nothing like too many people now. No, we can't. No, we just need the numbers, because there's so much to do, and the numbers are what's going to help. So the funding will come, but we need the people to jump on board. Join us, see our Facebook page, come on there, and all that other social media handles. Come on there, see what you can do. Our WhatsApp number was given out earlier. Just join the group, and then put your efforts and your expertise on offer for us to use in Ghana as well. We need everyone. No one is
We keep you alive.
If you live in Manchester and its surrounding area and you want to be part, if you contact me, as I'm part of it, an executive member, we can also form our own team in Manchester to help this vision.
Great. I just want to read a comment on our Facebook page by one of our members. She's also an executive, Augusta Siao. She says, I think all Ghanaian women need to come on board, because it's our Ghana and it needs us. Ghana needs us. So yes, we need everybody to come on board. Now, I think I'm just going to say this. A lot of the times as Ghanaians, we seem to have a certain mindset that if I'm doing something and I partner with somebody, what if they grow bigger, or it grows bigger, whatever they're doing, and they leave me behind? It's almost like we don't trust each other. People are saying all kinds of things like, you know, are you sure about this? It's a women's group. No, we heard the president. We need dynamism and activism and movement. We are not here to play. You know, we are not here to joke. We are a very serious group. We are not the kind of group that, you know, does things with no purpose, no vision. We have a purpose, we have a vision. We've laid our vision out there into the public. It's gone out there into the universe, you know. So if you're passionate enough, if you're patriotic, you believe that you have something to contribute to Ghana, then by all means, feel free. Even if you're a man, you want to join Ghana Diaspora Women, you're welcome. Yeah. Come and join us. We, you know, we're all Ghanaians. Let's do it together. We're one people, one, you know, one body, one family, one community. Let's all do it together. That's all we're asking. Yes, we would need your financial support because we believe that amongst ourselves as Ghanaians, there's so much. You know, I gave an example earlier. If 100 Ghanaians, everybody gives £1, $1, that's £100, $100, €100 right there. That can go towards bags of cement, you know, and so on. There's so much we can do if we come together. So let's break that mindset of we are afraid of each other, we can't trust each other, I've been bitten before by this one. So no, you've been bitten before. Are you going to let your dream die because you've been bitten before? You know, let's erase what's happened in the past. Let's look at what's currently going on and what the future will bring to us. Let's trust each other, trust that God is with us. Ghanaians, we love to pray, we love to mention God's name. We believe in God. Let's believe that God is with us and this vision is here to stay. At the end of the day, it is not about me as the founder. It is not about any of the executive members. I mean, left to us alone, we could easily sit here in our comfort zones and enjoy whatever we're being blessed with here. But there's work to be done back home. And as believers, one day we will have to give an account. When we saw that children were going to schools under trees, what did we do about it? When we heard that women were dying in hospitals during childbirth because there were no beds, because there were no ambulances, the care wasn't good enough, what did we do about it with the skills, the talents, and everything that the West has, you know, we've acquired from the West in terms of knowledge? So, yeah, that's how I want to
read. Somebody sent it to me the other day. I learned to give not because I have much, but because I know exactly how it feels to have nothing. Yeah. Some have nothing at all. Yes. Nothing. So not just because you don't know what to do with your money, but because you feel you've put yourself into somebody's shoes. That is how we see it, and we want to run with it. So thank you very much, ladies. Once again, I want you to introduce yourselves because some people have just joined. I start from Amanda.
I'm Amanda Rashid.
Maria Mwakabwedu. Amanda Rashid, your position in the organization?
Well, I'm the secretary. No.
So Maria Mwakabwedu, founder.
I'm Sharon Akumia, and I'm one of the executives.
And myself is Agnes Riafi Otain, executive and a treasurer as well. And we thank you so much for being here all the way from London just to come to Manchester for this great occasion. And I know you have enjoyed it. Please share this video. This is a vision we are all running together. We need each other by itself. You are my keeper, I'm your keeper. Let's keep an eye on those who are suffering in Ghana, and it will be a blessing. Not just for you, for generations to come. You will be a blessing for generations to come. So thank you so much for joining us, and this is where we draw the curtains out. Once again, we say bye-bye and thank you.
Thank you. God bless you all.